Hey guys, this is Licious Kid from ClimaxCombo, and today we have a deck profile. This is my Love Life deck. This is updated with the new booster, the Love Life Volume 2 booster. This deck is red, yellow, green. At first I wanted to do red, yellow, blue because, I don't know, I really like red, yellow, blue, but seeing as on the channel I have very little red, yellow, green content, I decided to upload a red, yellow, green deck profile today, and red, yellow, green is still really good. I just like Maki, so that's kind of why I like red, yellow, blue, but that's just me rambling. So nonetheless, here it is, red, yellow, green. If you want to see the deck in action, like always, links will be in the description below. So yeah, I guess with that out of the way, let's just get started. First off is 3 of these Honokas. They are 0025. What they do is that if you have 1 or less other characters on the field, they get plus 15, so they become 004K if you have 1 or less, which is going to happen most of the time. So yeah, pretty good beater for level 0. Just me today, so I'm gonna check the camera every now and then. Alright, looking good. Yes. Okay. More level 0s, 2 of these 00 Honokas, they're 0015. From the first booster, level 0 Suicider, and has another effect of on attack. You can send 2 characters in your deck back to the 2 characters in your waiting room back into the deck, shuffle it, and then this card gains plus 2k for the turn. The reason why I like this Suicider is because if you have one card left in deck, you can attack, send 2 characters in your waiting room back, and then now your deck has 3 cards, meaning that you get, once you do your 3 attacks, you get 3 stock before you refresh, compared to the 1 stock you would have got before refresh. This helps us so that it guarantees that you don't trigger a climax in those 3 attacks, and you get to control what goes in your stock, and you get to control what you trigger. So if you want to put like junk level 0s you don't want it to draw into in the later game, like this Honoka for example, put those in the stock, etc, etc. I like this card a lot, so yeah, just a personal choice of mine, so I run 2 of those. Next up, 3 of the 1500 Kotori. She is from the new booster. Oh, whoops. Hopefully I didn't ruin anything. Alright, still looking good. Sorry about that. Anyways, 1500 Kotori. What she does is, she's a level 0 Suicider, and the character opposite of her cannot move. So, the character opposite of her, they can't move slots. The main reason for this card is, it's an anti-runner, meaning there's a runner card in front of it, they can't run away. So, yeah, a lot of runners being printed out nowadays. SAO got a runner in the form of the Kirito. I believe, Kontai Collection got a runner. Even Love Live has a runner. Terraformers has a runner. A lot of runners being printed out nowadays, so this Kotori never hurts to have, because you can stop those runners from being annoying, stop your opponent from generating an advantage, and it also works later stages into the game. You can put it in front of a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, what have you, side against their stronger characters, and next turn they are forced to kill the Kotori because they cannot move into another slot. So yeah, Kotori, great, all stages of the game. Next up, I run 4 of these level 0 Eddies. They're 00500. What she does is she's a 500 in front assist, and also on play, you may mill the top 3 cards of your library and put it into the waiting room. This card's really good. Well, first of all, 500 assist is really good, and second of all, it's on play where you can mill the top 3 cards of your library for free. It's also really good. Milling for free is usually always a pretty good thing, and this Eddie, if you use it right, it can really help your compress. Sometimes it does bite you in the ass, like you play it and then you mill 3. If you mill 2 climaxes, then you've done more damage to yourself than good. But still, with a little luck and a little practice, this Eddie can really help you increase your compress by quite a lot. It can help you out in bad situations when you're uncompressed or you just trigger too many climaxes, what have you. A lot of situations where this Eddie is good, and this Eddie is good throughout the entire game, not at level 0. She's good at level 0, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, excellent card. I really like this Eddie. Next up, I guess utility level 0s. two of these 1500 Kotori. Your good old generic on play, pay 1, discarded cards, search your deck for a music character and add it to your hand. There is one for every color now. There's yellow, red, green, blue. I opt for the yellow one because, as you can see, my level 0 yellow count is extremely low. So that's why I chose the yellow Kotori over the others. Next up, one of these Honoka 002K. It's from the TD. On play, you can pay 2. If you do salvage a character from your waiting room, add it to your hand. I like this Honoka because Love Live's level 0. It can be a little difficult to pay out Climax with Love Live just because the level 1 game is extremely costless. Or is very cheap, I should say. So sometimes it can be difficult to pay out Climaxes. So that's why I like this Honoka, because it makes it easier to pay out the Climaxes that are deep in your stock. And lastly, the last tech level 0, I guess, is this Eddie. It's the 0015. What this card does is, first of all, it's a pay 1 brainstorm. You can pay 1 and rest her. If you do mill top 4, and for every Climax you hit, you get to clock swap. So get a card in your clock, add it to your hand, and then put the top card of your deck to the clock. And it has another effect of when this card is played from hand to stage, you must put the top card of your opponent's stock into the waiting room, and then choose a card in their waiting room and put it back on top of their stock. So they don't gain or lose any stock. However, you get to replace their most bottom stock. So of course, the most optimal target for this Eddie would be to put a Climax into their stock. This Eddie, her clock brainstorm is not really relevant. I never really use her for that effect. She's mainly used for the second effect because you get to swap their stock. Usually the most optimal time would be to play it before your opponent refreshes. So if it's your turn and your opponent, let's say, has like 2 cards left in deck, you can slap down this Eddie and then put a Climax into their stock. That way you can attack them directly, and then they take the 2 damage, and then they refresh. So they refresh with 1 less Climax in their deck, and that can actually be a big deal. Also, like if your opponent has a full field and they only have, let's say, 2 cards left in deck again, if you have a very strong character, like let's say you have a 7/5 and you attack a level 0, that's like 2k power, and you play this Eddie beforehand, they have to make a choice if they want to back up. If they back up, the character does not survive, but however, they get to pay out the Climax in their stock, or they can choose to let the character die and not back up. However, they do keep the Climax in the stock. So it can put your opponent in awkward situations, and that's why I like this Eddie. It either forces your opponent to minus, or it forces them to refresh with 1 less Climax. So yeah, just a lot of situations where this Eddie can be good. And yeah, I really like this Eddie. It's a fun card. And that's it for my level 0s. That's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 level 0s. Just making sure everything looks good. Alright, on to level 1s. 4 of these Eddies, they're 1045s. Your good old 10 Eddie. She's gets 500 per every other music character on the field. Nothing special, however, a very cost-effective card. And works really good in conjunction with 500 globals, such as this 10 Umi. This 10 Umi, I'm sure many of you guys do know this card by now. It's a 103k, 500 global assist. However, it has another effect of you can pay 1, tap 2. If you do Brainstorm 4, for every Climax you hit, you get to search your deck for a music character, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Umi, all around a really good card, very versatile, gives all your character powers and gives your deck consistency by constantly brainstorming. Works really well in conjunction with these Eddies. Make sure it's very cost effective make sure Eddie's very annoying to deal with for no cost. Next up, 2 of these Umis. They're 6k. However, if you have 3 or more music characters, this Umi gets plus 1k. And it has another effect, and it has Clock Encore. It doesn't need to have 3 or more music characters to gain the Clock Encore. The Clock Encore is a separate effect. You only need 3 characters for her to gain the 1k power. She's essentially a 117k all the time. She's only really here for the Clock Encore because the Clock Encore is very nice. So yeah, that's all this Umi's really here for. And I got this signed. Woo! Next up, 2 of these Honoka backups. They're 1500, no cost backups. Once again, I opt for the yellow one just because my yellow count is kind of low. I'd rather level this up than level this up, I guess. So yeah, that's why I offer the yellow one. And that is all my level 1s. That's 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 level 1s. On to level 2. Two of these Umis are 2-1 8K. What she does is she gets 500 extra power for every character on your side of the field that is in rest. So if your back row and your front row is in rest, she'll be 2-1 10K before assist, which is very powerful for a 1-cost unit, or a 1-cost character. So yeah, very cost-effective unit once again. Next up, two of these Kotoris. This is probably the most unorthodox card in my deck. Every card in my deck is pretty standard except this Kotori. I don't really see anyone else run it. I admit it's a little weird, but I don't know. I like this Kotori, so that's why I run it. Anyways, what this card does is a 2/2 8K 2 soul. When she's played from hand to stage, this card gains plus 1500 power, and it has another effect of it has a climax phase change. Climax phase, pay 1, discard a card. If you do, change into the level 3 Kotori. I'll explain what the level 3 Kotori does when I hit level 3, but yeah, changes into the level 3 Kotori, and yeah, that's all she's really here for. Her first effect, where she gets plus 1500 on play, that's honestly really stupid, because the turn she's being played from hand to stage, you're going to change, so why does she gain the plus 15? It's kind of useless, but whatever. What can you do? Next up, you have two of these level assists. They're 2/1 5K. Level assist in front, and it has another effect of when this card is played from hand to stage. If you have a full field, or if you have 4 or more other characters on the field, you gain a blind stock. So on play, if you have a full field, then you gain a blind stock. So she essentially pays for herself, and yeah. And lastly, this backup is a 2/1 1500. It's a pay 1 3K backup. However, when you use this backup, you mill the top 3 cards of your opponent's library. This card can be quite a nuisance for your opponent because, let's say they attack, and when they attack for your third character, if you feel like they have a lot of climaxes on top of their deck, if you slap down this 3K backup, you might make them mill 1 or 2 climaxes. Of course, optimally, you want to hit 3 climaxes, but that's never really going to happen unless you're extremely lucky. But yeah, you play the climax, or you play the backup, you make them mill top 3. If you make them hit 1 or like 2 climaxes, if you hit at least 1 climax with the mill 3, I think this card has done a pretty good job already. Of course, if you hit any more, then it has done a fantastic job, but the fact that you can potentially hit 1 card by milling your opponent 3 can would help you win the game. So yeah, of course this can backfire on you, because if you play it, and then you mill your opponent 3 cards, and then they mill no climaxes, then you're screwed because you help them compress. But of course, that is the downside to this card. And the mill 3 is mandatory. So yeah, pretty dangerous card, but it's a fun card. So that's why I like it. Anyways, that's my level 2. That's 2, 4, 6, 7. 7 level 2s. A lot more level 2s than my usual decks. Usually my decks are like 3 level 2s. Anyways, let's go on. Okay, first of all, one of these level 3 Hanayos, she's a 3/2 10K. What she does is she heals on play, and she has another effect of, as a startup, you can pay 1, discard a card. If you do, this card gains plus 2K power for the turn, and the effect of when this card reverses its opponent character in battle, you may search your deck for a music character, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. It heals on play, which is nice. Also, the secondary effect is pretty cool because you pretty much break even. You pay a card, you discard a card, it gets a lot of power, and when you reverse something, you get to search for how many you discarded. This effect does stack, so you decide to discard 3 characters, or if you decide to discard 3 cards, then she gets plus 6K, and then you attack, and then you search out 3 characters in your library. This can help you, clean out your stock, get rid of crap cards in your hand, and gives her a lot of power, and it can help you compress because you get to search out for how many you discarded. So even if you discard 2, then after she kills something, you get to search out 2, which is 2 less damage that you are taking, which is quite nice. It can make or break the game. It can help you cancel, or yeah, it helps you cancel more. So yeah, that's why I like this Hanayo. And I got the triple R of it. It looks cute, so one of those. Next up, 2 of the Kotoris. This is the change target once again for the level 2 Kotori that I mentioned earlier. So when this card is played from hand to stage or via change, it gains Flare Trigger, so when her damage is cancelled, your opponent burns 1 damage. And it has another effect of if you have 3 or more music character, she gains plus 1k, so she's 11k base, essentially. And when she attacks, you can give a character plus 1k power for the turn. This is any character, so she can even give herself more power for the turn. Lastly, oh no, not lastly, next up we have 3 of the double attacker. Oh, gotta get the hollow one out of front. We have 3 of the double attackers from the extra boosters, a 3, 2, 10k. What this card does is, when it's played from hand to stage, you heal. It has another effect of when this card is played from hand to stage, you must tap a character. And as a last effect, it combos with the 2k1 soul here. When this card reverses its opponent in battle and you have the 2k1 in your climax zone, you can pay 2, clock yourself 1 damage. If you do, put this card back to stand. And you can only use that effect once per turn. So it is a double attacker. The cost is very light because you pay 2 and clock yourself a damage. Of course, clocking yourself doesn't really matter because she heals all herself. So a very cheap double attacker. That is a cheap double attacker that also heals. So that's why this double attacker is really awesome. And lastly, 2 of these 2 eddies. This is the Happy Maker Eddy from the new booster. It's 3, 2, 10k. What this card does is when this card is played from hand to stage and you have 4 other eddies on the field, you gain a blind stock. That effect never really happens in the deck. It's possible for it to happen, however, if you're making the first effect happen in this build, you're hurting yourself more because it's not worth it. So first effect is irrelevant. However, as another effect of when this card is played from hand to stage, this card gains the following effect until the end of the turn. When this card reverses its opponent in battle, you may pay 1. If you do, send that character to your opponent's clock. And lastly, as another effect of pay 1, give an eddy plus 1500 power for the turn. Of course, you're only going to be really using that effect to pump up the eddy herself, so she can guarantee the clock shoot. And this effect is spammable, so you can pay 3 and give herself 4 or 5 power until the end of the turn. So with enough stock, you can essentially reverse anything your opponent controls. And that is all my level 3. That's 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 level 3s. Alright, on to how I play the deck level by level. Level 0, once again, Love Lives, level 0s, nothing too crazy. Of course, the main beaters are the Honoka and the Suiciders, of course. Use these 3 to beat shit up that you can't kill. Honoka kill stuff. If you can't kill it with Honoka, then of course use one of the 2 Suiciders to help you kill things. This eddy, of course, this eddy is, like I said, is good throughout the entire game. Before the first refresh, if I have an eddy, I usually play it and I just mill the 3. Before the first refresh, that is when your deck is most decompressed. Most of the time, that is when you're most decompressed, before the first refresh. So when you play this eddy before the first refresh, you have the highest chance of hitting a lot of characters with this eddy. So yeah, this eddy, before the first refresh, I usually just slap it down and just mill the top 3 without question. But of course, as the game goes on, you have to be more wary and you have to be more careful because, if you just constantly mill 3, then you might hurt yourself, because if you hit 2 climaxes with eddy or 1 climaxes late into the game, every climax does start counting at the end stage of the game, so definitely be more careful with the mill 3 later into the game. But like I said, before the first refresh, I usually just play it, mill 3. So yeah, just a little tip, I guess, of how I play the eddy. But yeah, it's very situational, and just play it accordingly. So yeah, level 0, kill stuff, try to gain advantage, mill, try to set up for level 1, and yeah, that's it for level 0, really. Oops. On to level 1, of course, you definitely want to have an Umi in the back row, because Umi is awesome, helps keep the stock clean, helps give your characters a lot of power, and helps you plus by brainstorming. So Umi, all around, an amazing card. Of course, try to get as many eddies as you can onto the field, because eddy is extremely cost effective with a setup like this. These are 1075s, which is really strong for a no cost unit. So yeah, definitely awesome. Of course, you can play any of the Umis. Umi is only 500 power more. However, she does have the clock encore, and of course, with the clock encore, you're usually going to be, if you play this Umi, you're going to be riding the Umi all the way into most likely late level 2 or, until level 3. So yeah, Umi, good card as well. The clock encore is very nice. And yeah, level 1, honestly, nothing special, but Love Live's level 1 game is nothing too special. Just play a couple eddies, play an Umi, try to get an Umi in the back row, of course. And yeah, just try to build advantage from there. Level 2. I'll keep this here. Of course, you can play this eddy anytime you want. Anytime your opponent is about to refresh, play the eddy, and then, like I said earlier, just try to be a nuisance to your opponent. Make your opponent decide if they want to back up to pay out, or use an effect to pay out the climax, or, just force them to refresh with one less climax. So yeah, eddy is useful all stages of the game. Of course, at level 2, usually I try to keep these 2 cards in my hand, because with how the deck runs, with the constant milling of eddy, and of course the typical brainstorming you're trying to get by plussing with Umi, you can mill your deck out pretty fast. So usually when you refresh, it's usually at late level 1 or early level 2, and usually if I want to change, since I refresh pretty fast, or since this build refreshes faster than a normal deck would, sometimes at level 2, if you have a Kotori in your hand, and you might not have a level 3 Kotori in the waiting room because you refresh so fast. So that's why I try to typically keep both of these in my hand, so that way at level 2, you can play the level 2 Kotori. Of course, her cost is pay 1, discard a card, and since you can discard a card, you discard the level 3 Kotori, of course, thus guaranteeing yourself the change into the level 3. So yeah, just try to keep these 2 in your hand, if possible. But of course, level 2, try to play a level 2 Kotori, move this up. And try to get a level assist in the back row. Like this, when you have a full field, the level assist once again gives you a blind stock. And then since the climax phase change is pay 1, discard a card, if you play it in conjunction with the level assist, you can immediately pay out the blind stock. So the level assist makes the change cost a little lighter, and the level assist helps you pay out the blind stock, because it's nice to pay out the blind stock immediately, because you don't know if that blind stock is a climax or not, and if it is a climax and you never pay it out, then it kind of sucks. So it's kind of, these 2 cards work pretty well together, because like I said, just immediately pay out the blind stock to change into the level 3 Kotori, and yeah. The level 3 Kotori, if you get her out at level 2, it can be very hard for your opponent to deal with, because with the 3 characters, like I said, she's 11k base, essentially, which is very hard for your opponent to deal with. And she has Flare Trigger on the turn she's played, so she can push for extra damage. She's 2 soul base, so she can push for extra damage. And also on attack, she can give a character plus 1k. You can give herself plus 1k, making her that much harder to kill. And you can also give your other smaller characters plus 1k, helping you wipe your opponent's field that much easier. So yeah. I like Kotori a lot. If you get her out at level 2, you get a lot of benefits, because she's big power, pushes for damage, and she gives all your other characters more power. So that's why I like this Kotori a lot, because I just really like this card in general, and yeah, I just like the card. So that's why I run the changer. Of course, you don't always change, so that's why there's Umi here. She's kind of your backup plan, and even if you do play her, you might be able to find a chance to squeeze in the other 2-1 Umi, because the 2-1 Umi, like I said, very cost-effective unit. When you play the 2-1 Umi, of course, you want to brainstorm your back row. That way, when you attack, she's 2-1 10k base, because you tap your back row as well. So, level 2 Umi, very cost-effective unit. Yeah, level 2, just continue playing your level 1 cards, try to change if you can, push for extra damage, and if not, or if you can, play in conjunction with the 2-1 Umi, and just try to go from there. The level 3 is fairly fast-paced, because you have clock shooters, you have flare triggers, and you have double attacking. So yeah, the level 3 game is fairly fast paced. Just try to end your opponent's life as soon as possible with either, once again, double attacking, clock shooting, or flare trigger. And also the Kotori is nice because these two characters need to have as much power as possible because they do need to reverse their opponent's characters to gain their game-ending abilities. Kotori gives 1k of power on attack, and of course the 1k can make or break the difference on what these cards can reverse. Once again, her pay 1 plus 1500 effect is spammable, so with enough stock you can get her up high enough to reverse your opponent's character. And like I said, of course, climax combo for the win if possible. And if you have 2 of these, your opponents are pretty much screwed and they can say good night. So yeah, level 3, just try to heal with these 2, with the level 3 Hanayo, or just try to game end with these 3 cards. And yeah, that is how I play the deck level by level. I guess lastly, some alternatives you can run. Alright, I'm just going to give it a pause really. Alright, so some other level 1s you can run, or level 0 cards you can run. If you didn't like any of the, if you don't like the Honoka Suicider, or if you don't like the Kotori Suicider, then you can always opt for the Umi Suicider. The Umi Suicider is from the second booster, and she's still a really good card. She's 0015, once again, a level 0 Suicider, and she has another effect. You can pay 1 to kill an opponent's level 0 in their front row. You know, you can, very versatile card. You can pay 1 to just, pay 1 to clean out your stock. You can pay 1 to pop level 0s, maybe something like level 0 Hibiki from Contact Collection to deny them the anti-heal. Just pay 1 to pop a annoying level 0, what have you. Lots of things you can use your startup ability for. So this Umi is still really good. And, yeah, and the art is really cute. So you can't go wrong with playing this Umi as well. Other tech level 0s, if you don't like the level 0 Eddie or the level 0 Chidi Honoka that I showed you guys earlier, then you can opt for any of these. This Kotori is a 001K. It has an effect of anytime your other characters are reversed in battle, you can choose another character and give it plus 1k power. And it has another effect of you can pay 1. If you do, mill the top card of your opponent's library, put it into the waiting room, and then choose a card in the waiting room and put it back on top of their deck. She's mainly here for the pay 1 ability because you can pay 1, mill the top card. Of course, if the card that you milled on top is a climax, then you've essentially taken away 1 less cancel for them. And then the card you put back on top is, of course, going to be a character card. So that way they are guaranteed to take 1 damage. The card you want to put back on top is most likely going to be a level 3. So that way it can make it more difficult for your opponent to heal, or just make it more difficult for your opponent to gain that card back, what have you. But still, so yeah, if you pay 1 and you hit a climax, you've already taken away 1 more cancel for them, and you guarantee that they're going to take 1 damage. Even if you don't hit a climax, you still have the knowledge that there is 1 card on top of their deck that is not a cancel, and that in itself is really good. So you gain a lot of knowledge, or you can potentially take away 1 cancel from them, all for the cost of 1 stock, which is really awesome. Also, her other effect is her first effect of every time a character gets reversed, give another character plus 1k. That effect is pretty nice as well. Sometimes your opponent just forgets that this Kotori has that effect, or they're just careless, or the fact that sometimes it's just impossible to reverse your entire field with this Kotori. So this Kotori all around a very nice card. I have run this in the past and it's helped me win a lot. So awesome card. I like this Kotori a lot. Other Kotori 001500. This is from the extra booster. It's on play, you can give a character plus 1k power, and it has another effect of during the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can mill the top card of your library, put it to the waiting room. If that card you milled is a level 0, then you can move her to an empty border in the front stage. So she is a runner. However, the downside of this Kotori is that she's low power. She's only 15 compared to other runners, which are 2.5 or 2k power. And her running is more limited than other runners. Other runners have to mill a certain trait, like SAO. You just mill like I forgot, an avatar net character. Kotori has a hit at level 0, so her chances of running is much slimmer. But still, even with that said, even if you get to run once with this Kotori, you still gain a lot of benefits because she gets to live another day and help you gain more advantage. So with just one run, this Kotori has done a pretty decent job already, and if you get to run twice, then she has done a fantastic job for you at that point. So Kotori, a little inconsistent, yes. However, if you do get the running off, then it can really help you at level 0. So, and her on-play is pretty nice into other later stages of the game. The plus 1k power is quite nice. So Kotori is a cool card as well. You can't go, if you want to run the Kotori, then, go for it. Lastly, this is the PR from the extra boost, from the new booster, 002k. You can tap 2 characters to give any character plus 2k power. Not the greatest effect, and you're usually tapping your back row to give plus 2k to Brainstorm. However, this card can help you out at times because it's you can tap 2 to give 2k power, which is 2k power is a lot of power, and it's power is always good at all stages of the game, so can't go wrong. If you want to run this Eddie for more power, go for it. And those are just a couple tech level 0s. Love Live having so many boosters by now, with a lot of tech level 0s you can run, so feel free to experiment, but those are just a couple I just popped out at the top of my head. I guess for level 1s, level 1, you can't go wrong with this Kotori. She's from the first booster, 103k. She has a Climax combo with the Blind Stock 1 Soul. Nobody runs that Climax combo, so I'm not going to even mention it. She's mainly here for the level 0 suicide, for the level 1 suiciding. She is a level 1 suicider, and that in itself is enough merit to run the Kotori. I would like to add a couple, but I'm just lacking space, so if you can manage to find the space, go for it. Kotori is good. She's awesome. On to level 2s. If you don't like the level 2 level assist I mentioned earlier, the first one, you can go try out the yellow one. The yellow one is also really awesome. She's a 2-1-4-5. Once again, she's a level assist, just like this Eddie. However, every time you trigger a climax, you can give any of your music characters plus 1 soul for the turn. Having the option of adding extra soul is really awesome because you can help deal extra damage, you can help deal precise damage, and you can help it can help side for damage. So the plus 1 soul that this card can give is very versatile, and can help you really. It can really help you in a game. Just like I said, push for damage, side for damage. Just so many things you can do by adding 1 extra soul to your other characters. So this Hanayo definitely can't go wrong with the level assist, and feel free to can't go wrong with either of these. Hanayo is really awesome as well. So yeah. Backups, if you don't like the Mill 3 backup that I mentioned earlier, you can opt for these other backups. This is one from the first booster, 2-1-15. It's a 3k backup. However, when this card is played from hand to stage, you can give a character plus 2k power. And like I mentioned earlier, and as you have seen, my level 3 game is quite dependent on power, so having the extra 2k power from Nozomi can help you win the game. Also, this Lean is a 2-1-2-5 card. It has a pay 1-2-5 backup. However, when you use this backup, you reveal the top card of your library, and if that card is a music character, give the battling character plus 1k. So it's a 2-5 backup, and it can potentially be a 3-5 backup if you reveal a music character, which is going to happen most of the time because this deck has no events, so it's just 8 climaxes you have in your deck. So most of the time, this will be a 3-5 backup. So definitely want to add one of these two. I'll probably add the Nozomi in the deck. Or the Lean, I don't know, I want to add one of these two into the deck, just like I said, no space. But can't go wrong with adding one more or just replacing the Mill 3 entirely. And I guess on to level 3s. If you don't like the double attacker for whatever reason, maybe you just don't like the fact that she has to tap to come into play. It doesn't work well with the Brainstormer. If you don't like how her Climax combo is a 2k1 soul, you don't like 2k1 souls for double soul trigger. If you don't like how you have to clock yourself, if you don't like, for whatever reasons, if you don't like this Climax combo, then you can always opt for, other healers. Other healers being, the Eddie. She's pretty good She's 3/2, 10k. She heals on play. However, she has another effect of on attack. You can pay 2 if you do bounce an opponent's character in the front row and add it back to their hand. Solid. It heals and has a solid secondary effect against certain decks. If your opponent's deck has level 3s that don't have on-play abilities, her second effect can be quite a nuisance for your opponent to deal with, because you just bounce the characters back to their hand. And of course, if their characters don't have any good on-play abilities, it's going to be kind of annoying for them to play it again. So yeah, Eddie's all around a very solid healer. Also, you can try the new Nozomi level 3. She's the Happy Maker one from the new booster. This is a pretty interesting card. First of all, if you have 3 or more music characters, she gets plus 1k, so she's 10-5 base, so that's already pretty good. An oversized level 3. She heals on play, which is, once again, very nice. And she combos with the gold bar here. When you play the gold bar and you have level 3 Nozomi in the front row, you can pay 1. If you do, switch your deck for a music character and put it onto any slot. You can put it onto the stage. Of course, since they're being played from the deck, they don't gain their on-play ability. So, like, if you grab another Nozomi, you don't heal. If you grab an Eddie, you don't heal. But you can grab any character from your deck. So, of course, the most optimal target you can grab with this Nozomi is this Nico here, because Nico doesn't have an on-play ability. However, she does have a clock shoot ability. When she reverses your opponent's character in battle, you can pay 2, discard a card. If you do, you send that character to the opponent's clock, and she has -1 soul in front. But still, if you can use in conjunction with the Nozomi, because if you climax combo and you pull out the Nico, it's cheaper. You save 1 stock, and this card can help you end the game, because yeah, Nico is a really good game ender. So yeah, if you don't like the level 3 climax combo, and you can try out this climax combo, because this is a healer. It's oversized, and it has the climax combo is good. The gold bar does plus you, and it does. It's really easy to gold bar climax combo, because every time you attack, you have a chance of getting the gold bar back. And of course, like I said, the most optimal target for this level 3 Nozomi would definitely be this Nico, because the Nico can help you end the game. So yeah, really cool synergy with these 2 cards. Of course, you can even pull out the level 3 Eddie, because you can still use her on attack ability. So yeah, just a lot of things you can pull out. You can even pull out the level 3 Kotori, and then she still have her on attack ability, and pump out the Nico maybe. If you have a Nico on the field, maybe pull out her attack and then plus 1k, what have you. Just a lot of versatility. You can pull out the Nozomi, but definitely if you're gonna run this climax combo, I would say you would have to run, I would say 2 to 4 Nico. I would say 3 Nikos. If you run 4 of these Nozomis and her gold bar climax combo, I would say run 3 Nikos. I think that's a good number, because keep in mind the Nico has to be in your deck. So if you only run 2 Nico, it might be a little inconsistent. But run 3 Nico and you should be pretty good. Of course, I think if you're running the Nico, if you're running the Nico, I don't think you should run him with the Eddie, just because she's already a clock shooter. You don't need that many clock shooters. So yeah. So yeah, if anyone is I think this is really cool. If anyone is actually trying this, let me know how it goes for you. But I would like to try this out one day. But right now I'm running the double attacker. But I think this combo has a lot of potential. Speaking of Nico, Nico herself is still a really good card. If you don't like the Happy Maker Eddie, then of course you can run the Nico. I like the Eddie because she's cheaper, because she's only pay 1. However, Nico is pay 2. Discard a card to clock shoot. Of course, the advantage is that Nico is constant. You can attack. Eddie is only on play. However, Nico is only. You can always use Nico's effect during your turn, and you can use it during your opponent's turn. So if your opponent is lacking in resources, Nico can really put them in a checkmate position where they can't do anything. So they have their pros and cons. Right now, I'm trying out the Happy Maker Eddie, and it's working out fine for me. And I've used Nico in the past, and Nico has done a great job for me. So both of these have their pros and cons. I think it's players' preference on which one they want to use. But right now, I'm using the Eddie. But in the future, I might just switch back to Nico, because Nico's really good too. And yeah, that's all the excuse me, that is all the other options I have for you guys today. And with that, that is the end of my deck profile. Once again, like I've mentioned, Love Live having so many boosters by now has a lot of different options. Of course, I only mentioned a few today because if I mentioned them all, this video would be like an hour long or like 2 hours long probably. So, feel free to experiment. The ones I just showed you are the ones that just pop out to the top of my head. So yeah, Love Live. Awesome. And it's getting another booster in June, which is just ridiculous. So that's more money out of my wallet. But whatever. Yeah, so Love Live getting more boosters. So you'll definitely see more Love Live deck profiles in the future. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, guys. And until next time.